All right, this is Christian again. This is part 7 of our series. This series discusses how online influencers create eating disorders, lie to you about nutrition, and stuff like that. And I'm using academic articles to, refute their points. And you can check out the description for these videos if you want to, fact check what I say. So, we're looking at, this is part 7, like I said. We're looking at 7 red flags that apply to online diet influencers. We're looking at the 5th red flag in this video, all right? The 5th red flag is an all or nothing approach regarding food. So, what do I mean by this when I say all or nothing? Well, simply put, if some influencer says, don't eat this food at all, that's what I mean by that. An influencer who says, don't eat this food at all, has an all or nothing approach to that food, all right? So, the 5th red flag applies to any influencer who says, don't eat this food at all. That's basically what all or nothing means. Conversely, if somebody says, this food's not healthy, so eat this sometimes, that's not the red flag, okay? If the influencer says, eat this food sometimes, but don't eat it most of the time, that's totally fine. That's good. If the influencer says, don't eat this at all, emphasis at all, that's a red flag, and that's a problem, all right? So this 5th red flag applies to Paul, Eddie, and Mario, all right? As we discussed earlier, Paul definitely does this all or nothing thing. Paul says you should not eat vegetables at all because he considers vegetables to be unhealthy. He has an all or nothing approach with respect to vegetables, in that he believes you should never eat vegetables at all. By the way, if you check out my earlier videos, you'll find that he's wrong on that, but you can check out those videos earlier. I won't go into too much detail here. Although I will put some studies in the description to check that out. Paul also has a more specifically all or nothing approach regarding broccoli, as I discussed earlier, okay? In that he believes you should not eat broccoli at all, despite the fact that studies overwhelmingly show that broccoli is safe to eat and actually provides real health benefits. And again, I'll put all that in the description below. Here. Okay. So this red flag applies to Paul Saladino. The 5th red flag also applies to Eddie Epub. All right? Eddie has an all or nothing approach with respect to fruit, or non-berry fruit more specifically. All right? Eddie is of the opinion that you should never, ever eat fruits unless they're berries. Sorry. All right? So Eddie believes you should never eat any fruit at all unless it's a berry. He has an all or nothing approach with respect to non-berry fruit. All right? He's wrong on that, by the way, and I'll cite studies in here in the description for you to check those out. But simply put, he has an all or nothing approach with respect to non-berry fruit. Now we're going to go to Mario here. And Mario also has this red flag. Mario claims that you should avoid protein supplementation. Mario claims that you should never consume protein bars, protein powders, protein drinks, because he considers them to be unhealthy. Well, he's wrong on that. The studies overwhelmingly show you that he's wrong, and I'll put studies in the description for you to check those out. But Mario has an all or nothing approach with respect to protein supplementation. So, what I believe, and what most serious nutrition experts believe, I'm not talking some idiot on YouTube like, say, Ken Berry, Dr. Berg, Jason Fung, and those guys. No, I mean actual nutrition experts like, say, Lane Norton, Gil Carhalvo. Carhalvo is the host of Nutrition Ain't Simple. And Dr. Mike Israetel, all right? None of them ever say, never eat this food at all. All right? Never. Real nutritional scientists say instead, consume more of this healthy food, eat less of this unhealthy food. They never say, don't eat this food at all, which I think says all you need to know. All right? So, first off, consider the fact that Lane Norton, Mike Israetel, and Gil Carhalvo, all of whom have studied nutrition for decades, none of them ever say, don't ever eat this food at all. All right? No food is inherently dangerous in small amounts. And they know this, which is why real experts, like say Norton, Carhalvo, and Israetel, never ever say, don't eat this food at all. So if there's an influencer, like say Eddie, Mario, and Paul, saying don't eat this food at all, that's a serious red flag, and that hurts their credibility. Let's also revisit the Twinkie diet that I talked about earlier. All right? In the Twinkie diet, there is a nutrition scientist named Mark Hobb, who's a professor, by the way, in nutrition. Hobb, his maintenance calories, the amount he had to eat to maintain his body weight, was 2,600 a day. He decided to eat 1,800 a day, giving him roughly an 800 calorie deficit per day. That's a pretty big deficit, all right? So, like I said, Mark ate 1,800 calories a day in order to lose weight. Sorry. He ate 1,800 calories a day in order to lose weight. And roughly 2/3 of his diet came from heavily processed junk food. We're talking like Oreos, Doritos, Twinkies, sugary cereal, stuff like that. Okay? So 2/3 of his diet was blatantly not healthy. However, despite eating a lot of heavily processed junk food, Mark Hobb lost a lot of weight. He lost 27 pounds. That's a lot. That's very good. His good cholesterol went up. His bad cholesterol went down. His body fat decreased from 33.4% body fat to 24.9% body fat. Now, some of you are saying in the comment section, well, duh, it's calories in, calories out. All right? The calories in was less than the calories out, therefore he lost weight. Calories in, calories out. It's true. Why is this controversial? Well, yes. Calories in versus calories out is true. And Hobbs' Twinkie diet was an extreme case of this, obviously. 2/3 of his diet came from junk food, and he lost weight because he was eating less than what he was burning off. So yes, his case was extreme. But think of it like this, okay? If Mark ate junk food primarily, and he still lost weight, that shows you that small amounts of junk food are not harmful to you, all right? Mark ate 2/3 of his diet from junk food, and he got healthier in this case. Now, I don't recommend doing what he did, but the point is that if you eat a mostly healthy diet with small amounts of junk food, you are fine. You are healthy. So, if you eat mostly healthy, and you eat, say, like fruits, vegetables, lean meat, and then one little cookie, you are healthy. You are fine. The cookie's not going to make you fat. Okay? So, small amounts of junk food are totally fine. If there's an influencer saying, don't eat junk food at all, that influencer is lying to you. Disregard anything he or she says. All right? Now, ideally, people will say, well, ideally, you shouldn't consume junk food at all. Fair enough. But that's not realistic for most people. That's just not reality. All right? In my experience, and the experience of others, people generally do better when they eat small amounts of junk food as opposed to trying to avoid junk food entirely. All right? Let me talk about Layne Norton. I've been talking about him a lot, but he has good information. And he's got a very good point on this one. Now, Layne was a professional natural bodybuilder, all right? When he was a natural bodybuilder, he made a conscious effort to eat clean for most of the week. The only problem was that he found that if he ate clean Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all through the week, he would go insane on the weekend and he would binge eat, basically. All right? And it happened enough times to where Layne began to realize it was a problem. Layne, therefore, changed his approach. Instead, he focused on eating mostly clean throughout the week with occasional amounts of junk food throughout the week. So you'd eat, like, say, mostly clean food and then one small dessert or something like that. Well, he didn't binge anymore. All right? His binging went away. Conversely, one of his bodybuilding rivals was trying to eat clean throughout the week and then try not to go crazy on the weekend. His rival did literally that. All right, he would eat clean throughout the week and then eat like 5,000 or 6,000 calories worth of junk food in one meal. Okay? So his rival was going insane, eating literally thousands of calories worth of junk food in one freaking meal. Therefore, ruining all of his work throughout the rest of the week. So, what Layne's experience kind of shows is that not eating junk food at all sounds good in theory, but most people can't do that. Most people do better eating small amounts of junk food throughout the week so they don't binge all at once. I also want to talk about Will Tennyson. Will Tennyson's a very good influencer, by the way. He's one of the few that I actually like. All right? Will Tennyson is a Canadian amateur bodybuilder, and I think he's natural, okay? And Tennyson said effectively the same thing. Tennyson did a video where he tried The Rock's cheat meals. All right? Tennyson would try to eat clean throughout the week, and then he would try a big cheat meal that The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, would have. And what Will noticed was that he was constantly thinking about food throughout the week. He was constantly thinking about junk food, to the point that it was actually not healthy. So Will realized that eating clean all throughout the week, and then having a cheat meal once a week, was not sustainable for him. He found that he did better if he ate mostly clean throughout the week with small amounts of junk food here and there. He found that to be more sustainable as opposed to eating clean throughout the week and then having one cheat meal once a week. All right? And I don't think Layne and Will are isolated on that. I think their experience is fairly representative of most people. I know that it was true in my case as well. All right? This was about... I'm going to give you a bit of history here. I found one time where I tried to eat clean throughout the week with just one cheat meal a day. I tried to do that, and it didn't work for me. There was one time where I ate clean throughout the week, and I was just craving junk food so bad, okay? We went to church one day, and we had these Entenmann donuts out. I ate, I'm not joking, 6 Entenmann donuts in one sitting. Literally. I had there were the chocolate Entenmann donuts, which are if you eat 6 of those, it's 1,700 plus calories in just donuts. Yeah, it's as bad as it sounds like it was, and I hated myself for it. So, my experience, Will Tennyson's experience, Layne Norton's experience, Layne Norton's rival's experience, and others' experience shows avoiding junk food completely is not realistic or sustainable. What is realistic and sustainable and healthy is eat mostly clean, eat small amounts of junk food, and you're fine. Okay, mini rant over. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.